a lot of people are confused why I wasn't upset about it or think that I'm pretending to not be upset about it. But the truth is I'm not. Haters are just funny. I hate using that word because it doesn't sound like something you say in 8th grade, like, oh, my haters, but they're funny. And nothing is more entertaining than watching a hater get mad that you're not mad. It's brilliant.
All right, guys. What's up? My name is Xavier Brinkman. We're listening to the How'd You Do It podcast. We're out here in Hollywood at the Cast Studios, and I'm hanging out with the legend, Gabbie Hanna. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, legend?
Good. Yeah, there you go. So I feel like I have literally plucked you out of a shitstorm today to talk to you, and then I'm going to put you back in it. But cool. That storm is kind of a meme storm. You're right in the thick of it, and I feel kind of cool. I feel privileged that we're getting this commentary from you while you're in the middle of it. Tell us about it.
Honestly, what do you want me to say?
All right. Well, to preface it, so for those of you who haven't seen it, so Gabbie did a session on Genius.
So what if I'm the monster that's been here all along? So what if I'm the monster? What if I'm the monster? If I'm the monster. So what if I'm the monster?
I just want to put out a statement right here and now. You killed it.
Oh, thanks.
So I was nervous to watch it. I was like, whoa, what? I'm like,
I was
what
nervous
did she,
to watch it too.
I was like, what did she do? Like, there's all this hype. I'm like, what? Like, God, like it must have been bad, for all this happen. Girl, it was great. You hit every note. It was great. It sounds exactly like the recording, which is very rare and very hard to do. Really high notes and also a lower register too, which you did really well on.
Thank you.
There was, I guess, it was kind of just recorded weird. Basically, correct me if I'm wrong here. The boom mic was picking up some of the audio, and the camera mic was picking up sort of the higher notes. Is that right?
Yeah. So they cut it in between. So when I did the first half of the chorus, they were using the boom mic, but then I think I peaked the boom mic, so then they cut it to the camera audio instead of just using all of the camera audio for the chorus. So it switched back and forth, and it sounded weird. It was a weird artistic choice.
I love Genius. Like I have nothing against it. That's kind of a weird thing to do, but anyway, so my theory is it was just a slow week on the internet because I can't believe that even though you nailed the whole thing perfectly, it was very minor. Like I watched the whole thing before knowing what part was being made fun of, and I was like, oh, like where is the part that was bad? And then I had to watch the memes. I'm like, oh, okay, that was like that's fine.
Well, the thing is, that's why I didn't really get upset about it, and I think that the people because a lot of the people that were making the memes were actually my followers and like fan pages and stuff. It started off as a hateful thing, obviously, but a lot of people are confused why I wasn't upset about it or think that I'm pretending to not be upset about it. But the truth is I'm not, because
it was fun.
And also I can confidently say that I feel proud of my Genius interview. So like if it was something I was genuinely embarrassed of, because like I've had some live performances that are embarrassing. So when I see them, I cringe. But with that one, I don't really think it's that bad. So I just was taking it in stride, and I thought it was really funny. And nothing is more entertaining than watching a hater get mad that you're not mad. It's brilliant.
Tell me about that.
No, it's like, I embraced it fully. And a lot of people are saying like, oh, it's just an act. She's so butthurt. She's pretty, but like, not really. And they get so mad when you embrace it. They're just like, you killed the meme. It's not funny anymore. And it's like, I'm sorry, you're not having as much fun making fun of me anymore, kind of thing.
Not bad.
Yeah, literally. Like they're mad that I'm not upset.
Right. So tell me about when you felt like, what was the first thing you saw about it? Were you like, oh my God, what did I do? Like, what's happening here?
I think the first thing I saw about it was, oh no, my sister texted me and she said, make a video reacting to the monster meme. And I said, I haven't seen it. So then she sent me some. And then I saw a couple of videos of people who, from the monster meme, decided that they were music critics. And now they're critiquing my actual vocal ability. And now there's all these videos about like Gabbie Hanna can't sing and all this stuff. So it really does just become a thing where people run with whatever's cool to talk about. And next week, people will talk about something else, I guess.
Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. Okay, so, and what I love is that you, not only have you embraced it and been cool about it, you've already got merchandise up on Amazon. You could literally Amazon Prime it and have this merchandise in 2 days.
The devil works fast. I work faster. If there's one thing I know how to do, it's turn a bad situation into something positive. And it inspired like a drawing, and I just drew on my iPad.
You drew that?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
So I just drew it that night, and I was like, oh, this is a t-shirt. And then I put it on shirts, and I think they're really cute, and I can't wait to get them in the mail.
Yeah. That is moving quickly. Have you sold any of that? Is it getting a good response?
Yeah.
Yep.
People really like it. That's another thing that haters are just funny. I hate using that word because it doesn't sound like something you say in 8th grade, like, oh, my haters. But they're funny because they'll comment like, oh my God, sis, nobody's going to buy your stupid merch. And it's like, oh, I'd show you my sales report, but I don't want to brag.
Yeah. I'm just going to let that sink in for a second. Amazing. Okay, so, God, I can't only imagine the stuff that you have to deal with on a daily basis in that comment section. Like, nowhere else on the internet is it as brutal than on YouTube.
Oh, Twitter's pretty bad.
Okay, and Twitter, but God, people go crazy in the YouTube.
Yeah.
So, you know, I've seen interviews with you where you said, hey, like it does affect me still. You know, it's like,
of course,
it's how, yeah, like, I mean, a lot of people, like, I interview YouTubers every week, and a lot of them say, hey, like, yeah, at the start it was kind of, but now I don't look at them, or now it just doesn't really bother me. Like, I like that you're just like, yo, it bothered me then and it bothers me now.
Yeah.
What is it about them? What gets you? How do you deal with it?
Well, some bother me and some don't. Like, it really just depends on where it came from and how hateful it is. Like for example, the monster meme, like, that's one of the hate things that doesn't bother me, because to me it's funny. People, for the most part, I think, are just having fun, and obviously there's people out there who were doing it to be hateful. But, you know, there's sometimes where people make a comment, like, I can't even think of one off the top of my head, but it hits you just a little too deep. Or usually the ones that are speaking directly on your character, because I feel like a lot of times people want to tell you who you are. So they'll speculate on a situation, and you're a snake, you're a liar, you're a fraud, you're a scammer. It's like all these things where your integrity comes into question. And those are the ones that bother me the most, mostly because you can't defend yourself. So with the internet, you can either ignore it, and people say you're ignoring it because you have something to hide, or you talk about it and you kind of like give your side of it and give it an explanation, and now you're just giving excuses. Or you can blindly apologize, which is what most people want if something happens, is just say you're sorry even if you didn't do something. So that's the stuff that affects me the most, and I just deal with it by going to therapy, writing music, and just staying moving. You know, you just have to keep pushing and accept the fact that with love comes hate, and it'll always be that way. And
you will never, especially in the YouTube space, you're never going to please everyone.
Oh no, you really can't.
How much, so you're obviously getting feedback all the time. Like, we want more of this. Like, if you do something, they're like, hey, we wanted the other thing. And then if you do that thing, they wanted something else. You know, it's like, how much fan feedback do you let sort of affect what you do?
It's one of those things, again, where it depends, because I try to look at it from where is it coming from. I think a good example actually is like with my music and with my singing. I know that I'm not great yet. I just started doing music like a year ago, and I have a lot of work to do. So when I watch a video of somebody who's critiquing my music, I don't just write that off as some hater. I'm like, okay, this is something I can learn from. So I take it to my vocal coaches, I take it to my producers, and then I work on those things. So that I take into consideration. But then if it's somebody who's just clearly trying to be mean, I ignore it. So you can usually tell somebody's intention from the content.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, and another quote I really liked of yours. You said, "I really don't get on social media that much because I'm mentally unstable and it isn't good for me." I must admit, I had a chuckle at that one. And I also really love how open you are about like therapy and things like that. And I definitely think more people should be. Is it being a YouTuber? Is it your career and what's happened to you up until now that's led you to get sort of anxiety and have to go to therapy? Like, is it?
No,
is it
I've
that?
always had anxiety and depression, and then I didn't deal with it until I started YouTube, and then YouTube kind of pushed me into a place where I couldn't avoid it anymore, essentially, and I just needed help. But I think YouTube definitely contributes to it, and that's why I sort of stay off social media. And I actually said one time, like, I don't watch my friends' videos, and everybody was up in arms, like, oh, you don't support your friends, like, how that's so like fucked up of you that you don't support your friends and watch their videos. And it's like, no, it's not that I don't support them. I don't watch them because it's a really weird world when you're, you know, like, say you and I are hanging out every single day and I know everything about you, and then I'm watching this different version of you that's not you, and then it's just weird. I like to live my reality as my reality, and I like to live my work as my work, and YouTube is my work. So the fact that I don't want to be in my workspace in my leisure time doesn't mean I'm not supportive. What was the question?
I don't really know, but I guess just talking about anxiety and if YouTube was, or your career
like
has sort of been a contributor to it. But no, I like what you said there. And do you think, like, you're talking about people's sort of like online persona versus their real persona, do you think you have two different personas, or they're pretty much generally the same?
I think that I'm pretty sure that I'm pretty much what you see is what you get, but I think that I'm a lot calmer than I used to be, and sometimes in my YouTube videos I still play myself up to be the very impulsive, over-dramatic person that I was when I was 22 and started on the internet. And I'm getting to a point now where I'm ready to pull back and just be like, okay, I'm 27 and that's who I was and that's not who I am anymore, and now I'm going to kind of shift my content out of that. It's just hard in the beginning when you get so much in a pattern where it's literally like the camera turns on. It's like, I'm this person now. Sorry for blowing out your ears. Am I the monster?
Got it. And why, there's also a lot of talk, like it's this constant theme, and I know you've talked about it as well with so many YouTubers that I interview. They're like, hey, like, I was an introvert, I was bullied in high school, I really didn't have any friends. Like, it's bizarre to me. Honestly, I could literally name probably 10 of them. People that were like, yeah, I didn't have any friends, I didn't really know anyone. I'm like, you are the most extroverted person. Like, even like Ricky Thompson, talking about him, I was talking to him a few weeks ago, who's a huge personality. James Charles, Connor Franta, Ricky Dillon, all being like, yeah, like, we're pretty quiet, and it's just so bizarre that they've somehow all gone into the YouTube space, where it's like, I mean, I am, granted, I'm an extrovert in real life and I'm an extrovert on camera. I thought that's why I was such a show pony and liked the camera. Yeah. And this is what led me over here. But it's really interesting for me to hear about people that were introverted but like being on camera. What do you think about that?
I'm extremely introverted. I'm a very shy person, and if you approach me on the street, I will probably crumble, and I do. Like,
so how do you get on camera and be so extroverted then?
Well, the thing is, I think that most people who gravitated towards YouTube was because they had trouble making connections in real life. So they felt like they weren't being able to be the person that they wanted to be in real life. So then they turned to the internet. But actually, most performers, politicians, public speakers are very introverted people, but they're good at projecting on a stage when they're not actually interacting with people, if that makes sense. Yep. It's actually really common, but I don't know. I can turn it on for camera. I like performing, I like entertaining, but I think introvert, extrovert is really just about how you recharge. And when I recharge, I like to be by myself, drawing, writing, watching a show or something, as opposed to, like, parties are my nightmare. I don't want to go to a party.
Really?
Yeah, I hate it.
Okay.
The loud noises upset me.
Right, that's sad. You got me fooled. Like, guys, Gabbie walked into our studio 20 minutes ago and lit it up. You were a butterfly. She went around and hugged and said hello to every single person in the studio and remembered their name, and which didn't go unnoticed. That's a really, like, amazing and rare quality to have.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, of course. So it's like, if you're saying that social interaction is a challenge for you, then you've definitely overcome it.
I think it's different settings though too, because here it's like I walked in and there's friendly people. There's only a couple of you. It's not like, and I know that I'm not coming here and having to be a certain persona. Sure. Like, I'm coming in and I'm being myself, as opposed to, like, if I'm at a party and everybody wants you to be sort of the life of the party. So it's not like that I don't hate people. I don't hate social interactions, but I'm generally a more reserved person. I didn't used to be. I used to be really, really extroverted, and I honestly think that it's like when you do like meet and greets of like 700 people, it's almost like you exert so much energy into that, and then it's like you have a quota and you sort of lose it or something.
I have capped out on words.
Yeah.
Enough for today. I am sorry. I cannot talk any longer.
That's pretty much it.
So tell me about, as I said, I've caught you in the present. That you've got millions of fans, millions of subscribers, millions of views, people really genuinely giving a shit about what you do, caring enough to even comment things or care about what you do, which is a feat and pretty impressive. Tell me about the start. So I really like what you were saying, that you wanted to get into YouTube first instead of Vine, but you just didn't have the money to do it. Yeah,
I didn't have I had a laptop, but not one that could edit videos. I didn't have a camera. I definitely didn't have any like equipment or software program. So it was something I've always loved YouTube. I was one of those people that was watching YouTube from like Smosh days, like their very first videos. And then when Vine happened, I hated it and I deleted it off my phone. I said, this is the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my life. And then Bo Burnham was posting Vines, and he's my like idol of everything. I love him so much. So I re-downloaded it. I gave it another chance. I was doing it because he was doing it, and because I was at home and I didn't have any friends and I was shy. I didn't want to go to the bars in Newcastle. So I was sitting at home in my room talking to strangers on Vine, and just that became my life.
Wow. And okay. And so how did you go from like, I mean, there's one thing to be just a passive viewer to a creator. How did you make that switch?
I think that there was a trending hashtag. I feel like I probably told the story so many times that I can't even remember. There was a trending hashtag. I think it was Yo Mama, and it was Max and Jerry. It was Max No Sleeves and Jerry not Max No Sleeves. Oh my God, what was his name? Do you remember Max? The slap cam Max?
I don't.
Fuck. I hate that I'm blanking on his last name, but they were doing like a Yo Mama contest, and then I went on there like trolling it, like doing anti-jokes that weren't actually Yo Mama jokes, and then people thought that I was just really bad at jokes, and I thought that was funny, and then it became the joke.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and then I just got some followers from that and kept posting.
Right, okay. And when did you because you know you've obviously had a career. You had a career before that. You were in sales. You're at BuzzFeed doing lots of different things.
You did your research.
Oh girl, like I get weird. You don't want to know the stuff that I already know about you. I go deep. You were working a full-time job. When did you have that moment where you're like, hang on a second, I could do this for a job. I can make money from this.
Oh, I remember it so vividly, actually. So I started it, and then it would come in like these really small deals, like $200, $400 to post something on my Vine page, which obviously at the time I didn't know was like they were getting a great deal. But so that was just cool extra side money. And then I moved to Cleveland from Pittsburgh because I got promoted, and I was helping somebody open their own branch of the company, and then I was going to go off and open my own branch. So it was like getting to the point where I was getting deep into this company. And then when I got there, I realized how, dude, business is so dark and weird. It's just that entire universe. And I just didn't want to be a part of it anymore, and I was so unhappy. And then I pushed myself to the point where like I knew I was going to get fired. I can't quit things. So I had to get fired. So I went from the best employee to the worst.
Why can't you quit?
I don't know what it is. I have a problem with quitting things. Like I will push things until it will no longer.
You'd rather sabotage it than have to say, I quit.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. So yeah, I definitely sabotage shit if I want it to be over. Same with relationships. But yeah, I push. I guess I felt like if I quit, then I would have to take the blame if I didn't have anything else. Like when you're making money and you're making good money, it's like, how can I quit this job without a backup? Sure. So I got fired, and then I was like, I'm a Viner now.
Well, it's like if you get fired, it's like, well, I got fired. It's not my decision.
My time is freed up. Yeah. And that's literally exactly what happened. I was just like, okay, I literally said verbally to my sister, I'm just going to be a Viner now. And at the time that wasn't a thing. So she was like, I don't even know what that means. I was like, just wait, it'll be something.
And how quickly did it was there a period where you were like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to be able to pay the rent. I don't know if I'm going to.
I never have been, and I never will be in a place where I can't pay the rent because I've always planned ahead. So like there was never a moment where I was scared. And then once I wasn't at my job, I was able to like really hustle on Vine. And then once you hustle on Vine, the brand deals come in more, and then it becomes your life.
Right.
So it moved pretty quickly.
I mean, obviously Vine ended. How easy was the transition to YouTube?
I started the transition to YouTube before anybody else, I believe, because I always wanted to be a YouTuber, like I said. So I started when I had less than 1 million followers on Vine. I said I'm going to start pushing people over to YouTube because I knew Vine was going to die eventually. And this was when it was in its heyday. I was like, oh, it's going to die for sure. So then I pushed them all over, and it was pretty easy because at that point, even if you weren't following my YouTube channel because you saw that I was promoting on my Vine page, it was one of those things where it's like my face is in the thumbnail and you're like, is that girl from Vine? And then people were clicking it. So that worked well for me.
And it took off pretty quickly?
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Not like explosive, but I had a much easier time building my YouTube audience than somebody who was trying to build it from the ground up.
Sure. Yeah, I respect anyone that does that.
I don't know how they do it. People always ask me advice on like, what's your advice to people who are trying to start a YouTube channel? I'm like, I have no fucking idea. Do you swear on your podcast?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is rock and roll.
I was like, I have no fucking idea because I lucked out on Vine. I got so lucky because it was one of those things where I was there at the right time. I was there early, and then you hit the popular page once, and it's so new that everybody follows you at once. You could get 10,000 followers a day, and from there, obviously, you can push them. But on YouTube, how the hell do you get discovered on YouTube? Congratulations to everyone. Like Emma Chamberlain, how did she do that? That's insane. Good for her.
Good job. Wow. Yeah. Okay. That's true. All right. I'm gonna duck up to something you just said before. I want to know. You just said about sabotaging relationships. I just want to know one thing you've done that has sabotaged a relationship.
Oh, I can't even think of a specific example. I wish I could because it would be so entertaining. It's just like, oh, actually, this is a great one. I've actually told this story before. So I was in a relationship with a pathological liar. That was like a big thing on my channel.
Yep.
And I was so miserable with him and didn't want to be with him. And I was just like, how can I get out of this? And I just asked him, I'd never look in people's phones. It's not my vibe. But I was like, type my name into your phone. I want to see what you say about me behind my back. And then he typed in my name and like everything popped up. And at that point, it's like, oh, she asked to see my phone. So like for him, it's over. And for me, it's definitely over. So it was like, I couldn't just be like, listen, I don't trust you and I don't want to be with you. I needed something to be there.
Wow, what a creative thing. A creative way to go through someone's phone and make them witness it too.
Is like, you type it in.
Wow,
But it's also
dark.
a bad place to be. My advice to people on that is still like, I don't like that I did that. Mm-hmm. And if you get to a point where you have to tell somebody to do something like that, you shouldn't be with them anyways, because whether or not they're guilty, you clearly have a trust issue. And it's just
what kind of thing was it? Negative things that popped up? Like what kind of stuff came up there?
Well, he was pretending for months that we weren't together, which was very confusing. So he was like with me every day, but he was telling like his mom and his friends that we weren't dating, we broke up, but we were just friends because I was like desperate and pathetic and he couldn't not be my friend, because if he wasn't my friend, then I would have nobody. And he actually told everybody that I was going to kill myself, it was a whole thing.
Wow.
It was very dark and strange, but he clearly has issues of his own.
Right. And he just said, you said, type that name in, boy. And he was like, all right.
Yeah.
And just sat there and watched you look at it.
And I really only looked at one. I saw the first one and it was saying, I actually don't even remember what it said, but it was along the lines of like, we weren't together and we're just like friends or something. I was like, okay, cool. Well,
you know what? Whatever. At least you did it in front of him. At least you didn't steal his phone, I guess. And go off and
Face
do it.
ID. No, I'm just kidding.
You're like, man, I would have if I could have.
No, I'm not a big believer of the looking through the phone
Probably
thing.
A good idea.
Yeah.
Probably a good thought.
But oh my God, when I was in college, I was that bitch.
Oh, wait, you just said you were never that person aside from in college?
No. I said I would never now.
Okay.
But in college, yeah, I was that guy.
So if you were dating a guy, there was a good chance you've been through his phone. You know what's going on.
I haven't dated that many guys, but also in my
defense, whose phone were you going through then?
This guy was a cheater. Mm-hmm. So like the thing with girls is like we really do always know. And like I knew he was cheating. I just needed the proof. So I looked through his phone and I found it.
Right. Okay. So he wasn't only just lying about your relationship to his family and friends.
Oh no, this is another guy.
Oh, sorry,
this is my
guy.
college boyfriend that cheated on me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you suspected that he was cheating and then you're like, I'm just going to get some proof here.
Yeah.
And you were right.
But again, not healthy and not cute. That's me. Not healthy, not cute.
Merch will be out on Amazon Prime on Wednesday.
Oh, don't tempt me. I'm Gabbie Hanna, and this is how I did it.